Hello there, I am MelonBoy10, and this is Hypixel Skyblock. Today, we will be checking out the brand new Dungeons update. But before we get into anything Dungeons related, let's start with everything that isn't Dungeons related. First up, we have the museum. Now, the museum was here since the start of Skyblock, but only in this update has it actually received functionality, meaning the doors have opened and there are items inside. So if you come down the stairs, you can see that there are nice display cases with signs indicating what each of these items are. Over on the orange path, we have all of the weapons, including things like the edible mace, the emerald blade, ink wand even, and up on the top podium, we have the 50 mil Midas, we have the Reaper falchion, we have the aspect of the dragons, the pooch sword. Then down the purple path, we have all bows. Up in the middle we have Hurricane Runins and Mosquito, and around the sides we have bows like the Endstone Bow, Explosive Bow, those. Then finally down the middle path we have armor sets. Now this isn't every armor set in the game, it's actually sorted by how many people are wearing it. In the middle here we can see Superior Dragon armor is the most worn armor, and on the sign underneath it, it says the name, the date it was added, and you can click for more info. When you click on it, it will open this GUI showing you the armor pieces itself. Now this is unenchanted, this is just the base armor set. On the right here you can see some info about it, like when it was added and how you go about obtaining it. On the left over here we have the recipe for it. Then finally in the middle we don't actually have the weapon that most people use. We have the weapon that was most recently added. And the thing about the Dungeons update is they will be constantly adding new weapons. Most of them are randomly generated, so you never know what you're going to get. This is this week's randomly generated item, called the Dungeoneer's Dagger. You can see when it was added and you can click for more info. Then over here in the village we actually have two brand new friendly faces. We have over here Smize. And then across the village on the other side of the mayor's house, there is another one that I will be talking about later. Now, Syme over here is actually responsible for ultimate enchantments. Ultimate enchantments aren't just your tier 7 enchantment. No, ultimate enchantments are completely different. Here I have ultimate sharpness that my friend got earlier today. Ultimate enchantments are leveled up the more you use them. So if you put it on a sword, the more you use the sword, the more damage you will deal. So I am going to be applying this ultimate sharpness to my aspect of the dragons. Now you will come over to Syme over here. You will take the sword that you want to apply it to, put it in this slot here, and then put the enchantment right up here. Now as you can see down at the bottom of the enchantment list, there is ultimate sharpness. So if I hit combine, I can take this sword right here, and now it has ultimate sharpness on it. Now, how do you see how much sharpness you will deal? Well, you have to take your ultimate sharpness and put it here, or your weapon rather, and then all you have to do is click combine right here. And it will actually give you your ultimate enchantment results. As you can see, it's sharpness, and it gives you a description of the enchantment and the current level. I need to use it 500 more times in order for it to level up. And of course you can always just take your sword back. So now my weapon has ultimate sharpness and it will deal more damage the more I use it. The next NPC on our list is Ferguson over here, and he is responsible for loot chests inside the dungeon. You can find these in treasure rooms inside the dungeon, and I will explain how the dungeon works in just a minute. Ferguson over here will help you open your loot chests when you find them. Currently I don't have any because I've opened them all. That's how my friend got the ultimate sharpness. You can get them from these loot chests. Next up over here in the community center we have leaderboards. Now this is just the end leaderboard, and you can see superior dragon kills and superior dragon deaths, and of course you can click to toggle between the different dragons. One more thing before we get into the dungeoneering itself. If we come over to our Skyblock menu, you can see that there's a brand new icon right here. It's called the wardrobe. It's sort of similar to the profile management, where you've got your slots right here for the wardrobes, and then you can unlock more by getting a rank. Here I have my wardrobe that I set up earlier, and it's currently what I have equipped. So I'm going to run you through how to make one right now. So you have to click on an empty profile slot to open up this GUI. Now it's called Wardrobe 2 currently, but you can rename it to whatever you want. That's why my other one was named Speedy. So right here, these are your helmet slot, chest plate, leggings, and boots for your armor, and then your 8 inventories or your 8 hotbar slots. Or of course you can just click to set it to your inventory so you don't have to move the items in one by one. Now for the part you've all been waiting for, the dungeon itself. Over here we've got Thorgard and the Dungeoneering Scout. First off with the Dungeoneering Scout. The Dungeoneering Scout pairs you up with other solo Dungeoneers with a similar Dungeoneering level. Now a Dungeoneering level is sort of like your farming level, your foraging level, and combat level. What it does is it increases the chance that you will get better loot from the mini-bosses and the full bosses. Then over here we've got Thorgard. Thorgard, when you right-click on him, he will open this GUI, and you can check out your dungeon levels. Your dungeon level is sort of like Slayer. The higher the level, the more rewards you're able to get. And you can check those rewards over here, and the recipes right here. Then over here we've got the Overworld Dungeon, the Nether Dungeon, and the End Dungeon. The Nether Dungeon and the End Dungeon are locked currently because you need to bring Thorgard a key. Now these are those 2 keys right here, the End Dungeon key and the Nether Dungeon key. You can get the Nether Dungeon key from killing mobs in the Blazing Fortress wearing mob spawners, and they're called caged mobs. Same for the End, but instead of it on their head, the Endermen are holding it, and they're called caged Endermen. And then to unlock the 2 dungeons, you just have to bring the key to him, and then click to unlock. Now currently I've got the overworld selected, and you can enter the dungeon here. And you might notice that he didn't actually take the keys from us. That's because you need them when you get to the dungeon. So let's actually go to the dungeon right now. Okay, so as you can see over there, that's the gate, but we're going to head over here first and talk to these 2 fellow chaps over here. So here we have Chris. Let's talk to Chris. Hey mate, I sell potions made from the ingredients in this here dungeon. If you talk to Leonardo, he can tell you what we need. For now, here's what we sell. So it looks like he's selling potions. He's got a looting 3, a scavenger 3, and a dungeon crawlers 3. Oh, and an empty bucket. It looks like these 3 potions cost 100,000 each, and the empty bucket looks like it's one of those things that looks like a Viking tier. Now's a perfect time to talk about the new selling system. So let's say you're selling pumpkins and you accidentally sell your sword. Your sword will move down the line as pumpkins stack up behind it, therefore making it easier so you can grab your sword if you accidentally sell it. Okay, now let's talk to Leonardo. Leonardo. Hello there, young traveler. I require your assistance in obtaining some ingredients. The more you bring, the more I give. Start by bringing me the head of a defiled zombie. And with that, let's go ahead and enter the dungeon. Let's just come right over here, and it requires 1 overworld key. Get that in hand, and right-click. And there we go. Now the dungeon is open. And I am the only one in the dungeon, because I'm the only one that entered the dungeon. There will only be more people in the same dungeon as you if you bring them in as a party. So this first room looks sort of like a parkour puzzle, because there's a pathway leading up around, and it looks like there's levers up there. You don't have to go through every room, because there's a tunnel going straight through the entire thing directly to the boss fight. There's a mini-boss at the end of every floor, and a real boss at the end of every 5 floors. Every floor has between 3 and 5 rooms, meaning some floors are shorter than others. And as you can see, we've made it to the top of this parkour puzzle. Now the parkour isn't going to open the next room. No, it most likely opens this gate, which is probably a treasure room, because that's what it's like. All floors of the dungeon go straight to the boss fight. It's your choice if you would like to go and fight other mobs or gather loot. Sometimes you can get to the boss fight and realize you're not as well prepared, so you go back through the dungeon and get special items that you might need for the boss fight. Now here this looks like a combination puzzle to open the door. Let's see. So there's red wool here, yellow there, and there's wood over there. So I'm guessing we pull the wood, then the clay, and then the wool, because that's the order we went in. Oh, forgot to pull the wood. And there we go. Now it's open. And we can choose to enter it, or just move on. And, oh, this room's actually full of defiled zombies. That's what Leonardo wanted. And they're all level 24. I think that's a bug, because the intimidation artifact is 25 and under. That looks like a bug. Oh, and here is one of those loot chests that Ferdinand will open. I can actually come over here and claim it. And just get out of here. I will gather the defiled head later. And then we can always just move on to the next part of the dungeon. I'm going to race to the end. Okay, so it looks like one of the rooms where it requires a certain amount of items to go through the door. So, let's see what it requires. 12 TNT. And I'm guessing that's what the skeletons with TNT were for. And now let's use them on the door. Okay, let's head into the dungeon nest? I don't know what to call it. Let's see, is there anything over there? Okay, I'm ready for you. Come at me, Wither. Enfeeble Wither, he's called. Okay, nope. He's still invulnerable. Okay, okay. Why does he keep flying up? Okay. And jump! Okay, this is gonna take a while if he doesn't get... Oh, he's right there. Get him. Get him. Kill him. Why isn't he going down? How'd he hit... Okay. And he's dead. Okay. Now that we've killed the Wither mini-boss, let's see what he dropped. He dropped a Wither fragment. Let's click to view recipes. Okay, it looks like some kind of sword made out of the fragments, and it also seems like some kind of armor set. And there should have been an oh, here it is. Okay. And then we get one overworld dungeon key, and we can either use this to go on to the next floor, or save it for later and just leave. Well, that's about all from me for now, and thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time. I just completely forgot to mention the entire ocean island. Well, it is a nice looking island. That's a video for another day.